Let's talk income tax cuts now, because we are not maybe in an election year. The option is there for the Albanese government, political analysts believe. But this is when we start to get a bit of meat on the bones in terms of alternate policy. We're going to hear from Angus Taylor today, the Shadow Treasurer at the Press Club. Now, let's hear from the Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume. Jane, we've been talking about tax cuts and income tax cuts in particular for many months now. Do you have any more hints for us today? Are we going to get any more detail on what the coalition might do?
Laura, I would love to announce the coalition's income tax policy on your show today, but you know that I'm not going to do that, and particularly not before Angus Taylor speaks at the National Press Club. But what I can tell you is that the coalition is committed to lower and simpler and fairer taxes. The stage 3 tax cuts that were put in place by the coalition government in the last parliament were there to reduce bracket creep. They were there to reduce and to reform the tax system, to remove an entire tax bracket so that if you earned between $40,000 and $200,000, bracket creep would not apply to you. And that would inject that sense of aspiration and reward for effort back into our economy. Unfortunately, the Labor Party have trashed that reform that was inherent in the stage 3 tax cuts and instead implemented what they see is an electoral sugar hit. Now, that's a real shame because it was already legislated, the reform was already there, it was already funded, it was already budgeted. Clearly, this is a government that has no appetite for genuine tax reform. Now, we will announce our tax policies well before the next election. You'll get plenty of chance to pick over that meat on the bones before then.
So we're going to get some of that detail today from Angus Taylor, or no?
Again, I'm not going to preempt what Angus says today. I think you've already read a little bit about what he intends to say in the paper, in newspapers already. Most of the focus I think you'll hear today is going to be around coalition's commitment to increasing productivity, to restoring fiscal discipline and to restoring to make sure that we have a tax system that incentivises both individuals and businesses to do what it is that they do best. Productivity is floundering in Australia. Indeed, it's slowed right down to a point where it's now 5.4% lower than it was prior to the pandemic. And unless we lower energy prices, lower inflation, improve our industrial relations system to make it more flexible for employers so that they can invest in their business and employ more people, until we cut that red and green tape that's getting in the way of progress, and unless we improve our tax system, well, productivity will continue to flounder. Okay. If we're going to restore prosperity and opportunities for all Australians, we must improve our productivity.